What could you suggest to people who want maybe do something like what you do, but also just what you could suggest for someone who wants to get out of that rat race?
Get out of that rat race.
Fucking, sorry, nailed it.
Let's see. Step one would be minimize. Minimize, make very intentional decisions. We all get programmed with so many things that we should do, kind of like your brother said. Your brother was like, you should do X. And we get programmed with that shit. For me, I guess it was, I would have to buy a new car every 3 years. I would have to buy a house. I would have to buy, I had a time when I was a management consultant. My boss rode with me in my car. I had a 2003 Toyota 4Runner, same as a Hilux. Love that thing. I used to go camping with it all the time, and my boss rode with me. And he said, okay, well, if you get a promotion, you're gonna need to buy a new car. Are you gonna get a Beamer, or are you gonna get he's asked me if I was gonna get the BMW, or I forgot what the other one everybody was getting at the time. And I was like, I'm not. And he was like, no, you kind of have to, like, you need to keep those appearances up. And yeah, and I had I think I had a Seiko watch on, and one of my bosses, he was like, if you're gonna be in the boardroom, then you're gonna have to buy a better watch than that.
Oh shit.
And these are things that I got shitted on, but every single time I thought about it, like, so try to shorten this up. In the US, I think the average American buys a new car every 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. If they were to keep that car for whatever it is, 3 or 4 years, they're pretty much saving 30% of the cost they spend on cars over their lifetime, which could be used for something else. And we make decisions like that, as in, I'm going to buy that car, I'm going to buy that suit, I'm going to buy that flight to Cancun or Mallorca.
The new iPhone, whatever.
Yeah, the opportunity cost. If people start minimizing what they do on a daily basis and intentionally, very intentionally, spending their energy, their time, their money, they'll get so much quality of life in return and start questioning that structure that's baked in that makes them expense stuff. Don't spend anything. Okay, don't buy anything with debt. Credit cards or anything like that. If you can't pay it off by the end of the month, maybe you don't need it. If you're not going to eat for that month, then that's a different case. Mm-hmm. If that credit card is paying for your food and you're at that point of poverty, then live on what you made last year. The first step of that, most people, if I say, okay, whatever you make this year, the money you make this year, don't spend it. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck, so they can't. But we usually get a raise every year. But if people get into the habit of only living off of the income they made last year, then whatever their raise was this year, they'll save it automatically. And that compounds over 10 years, 5 years, and eventually turns into a whole year's worth of salary. In that case, if you can save a whole year's worth of salary, put it into something very conservative, index funds, FIRE, the Financial Independence Retirement.
This is like early. Listening audiobook, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
I'm sorry, man. It works. If you can put that 1 year's salary in the bank and let it sit in the bank for a year, you'll make 10% on that in a year. You can use that 10% to do something you want to do, like go travel or whatever, or you can just let it build up. Living on the money that people have made last year is an important thing. And then the last would be whatever the fuck you're passionate about, dig into it beyond that point when people tell you don't do it, don't waste your time into it. Dig in it as far as you can go, and then attempt to make a side hustle out of it. If you don't, then you're at least, it's giving you a better return on your time in terms of happiness, health, and value than most other things in your life. But if you can turn it to a side hustle, you're so passionate about it that you can work through the times where you don't have money, that you don't have anybody supporting you. Dig into it as far as you can go, and then think about making a little money off
That's
it.
what I started to do with comedy, for example.
Side hustle. I love that expression, side hustle, because a lot of people think that, oh, now what? So I have to throw everything away, my amazing job, whatever, and then, what if this not gonna work? No. So that's what I say to them: do the research. Do your plan first. Then start a little bit. Couple hours a day, couple hours a week, whatever it takes.
And the other excuse that everyone says is, oh, I don't have time. You fucking do have time.